Aurelio got the win, an important win. Felt you were good value for it?
Yeah, I think when you look at our last couple of weeks, especially 2 weeks ago against Western Sydney, we had no intensity, no intent. Showed up again half a game last week in the second half, but it was a more even game for us in terms of our consistency. A lot more intensity, a lot more intent. Scored a nice goal. Sure, we had hairy moments in that second half. And we probably could have been a little bit more cleaner in our front third. Always the wrong option tonight, or instead of making the right pass at the right moment, we ended up having an extra touch or 2 extra touches and lost the momentum.
And obviously new look midfield with some of the changes in the club. You've got Stevie and Terry starting in there together. Obviously Terry's got the goals, so positive night for him. But what did you make of that pairing working in there?
Pretty good actually tonight. I thought they really worked well, and especially in our defensive organisation, they really worked their socks off. And we know Terry's a good player. He's a smart player. So is Stevie. We're still encouraging, especially Steve, getting more passes forward. But I thought those two tonight worked very, very hard in the midfield for us.
Because when you talk about the intensity as well and the effort from the boys, obviously a situation like that, Adelaide going down early, they're going to be coming back hard, looking for an equaliser. Your boys have been struggling a little bit as of late. Do you think it was really important for them to be able to hold on for that mental boost, if nothing else?
Yeah, we haven't shown, if you want to call it grit, for quite a while actually, to be honest. So sometimes you need a win like that. Obviously, it helps with the confidence. It helps that we can win another way instead of just being, we're Melbourne City and an expansive football playing team, which we want to be, but we're not quite there at the moment. We're not where we should be, and it's still a fair bit of work in progress for us. And but you got to find a way to win sometimes, and that's a pretty good Adelaide team, to be honest. And that's exactly what we did. We just found a way to win, and probably could have had a second goal or even a third goal if we were a little bit smarter in the front third.
Well, last week you said you fluffed a couple of chances against 2 teams in a row that were thereabouts with you on the ladder.
Yep.
Just in the context of the season, how important was it to finally third time lucky against another team that was like similar sort of points to you on the ladder?
Yeah, well, we did fluff it in the last couple of weeks, and against the teams that were on level points with us. And if you go back to the West Sydney game, we could have gone, I think, second or third. And then obviously last week, conceding in the last minutes was pretty disappointing. But you always got to find a way to bounce back, got to find a way to fight back. And nothing comes easily. You got to do the work. If the way the league is this season, if you're off just 1 or 2%, you're going to get punished. And as you can see, I think, what is it, down to 10th or 11th, everyone is still fighting for a position in the 6, if not the top, probably top 2 or 3, right? Mike's looking at it already. Yeah.
Jamie Young's performance tonight made some really big saves, especially the last one, the 79th minute with Nesto running at him. Just to comment on his performance tonight. Yeah,
he came up really big for us, especially in that moment, and that was quite hairy for us. We probably should have dealt with it a little bit earlier with Squid, and he did his job. He stood up, let him make a decision, and the longer the striker takes to make a decision, the more chance the keeper has to win the duel, which he did, and he made some other important saves for us. That's what they do. We're talking about goalkeepers always trying to play out with their feet, which is important for the way we want to play, but at the end you also got to make saves.
And just to comment on Nesto, I mean, how hard is it, to sort of, I guess, plan for him when he's, he just went on so many dangerous runs tonight and he looked really threatening. Is it sort of, is it sort of one of the more challenging, I guess, jobs in the league at the moment?
It's always difficult, but to be honest, I thought Squid did a great job on him in the first half. I don't think he hardly touched the ball in the first half. He had, couple of dribbling moments in that first half, but I thought Squid was right on top of him first half. And then obviously when you give him a little bit of space and in transition moments, he's a powerful guy and pretty quick. And he had just some difficult moments with him. But generally overall, obviously that one-on-one there in the middle of the park, where he lost that duel, made it a little bit tricky. But as I said, in the first half, I thought he kept them pretty well nullified.
I was just going to ask about your thoughts on Scott Galloway's performance tonight. Another solid performance. Just a few comments on him and how he's stepped up to fill Aziz's absence.
That was obviously, I think, what has he played now? 4 or 5 games, I think. That was definitely his best game by a mile. He was really positive. The last couple of weeks, every time he received the ball, he was always with his body position wanting to play the ball backwards. So, it was always a negative pass. But tonight, and we had a good chat during the week about that and some other things, and he responded really well. He had a top game. He was getting forward, defensive moments in transition because they did leave Virakunda and Benny Halloran up and Ibuzuki sometimes. We had to make sure that our defence was alert, especially in the transition moments. But I thought he had a huge game.
And then just obviously with the recent departure of Hamza Saki, how have you been going about, firstly, when did you first learn about it, and then how do you go planning for this game with him, because he's going to be a big absence for you?
He came up to us after the Central Coast Mariners game, and obviously he left for the family reasons. His family wasn't settled, and he missed his daughter. So we've got to show a little bit of empathy on that side. So he decided to go back, and unfortunately, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Aurelio, forgive me if I'm reading too much into it. Looking at you after the game, you tend to get around your boys, but it looked like after this game you were saying quite a bit to Andy. You were giving a lot of words of encouragement to Andy. What was that conversation about, and why did you maybe give him a bit of extra love or a bit of extra time tonight?
No, it's been a long time since he's been playing competitive football, and he's obviously a little bit rusty, and he can get frustrated. So I was just trying to tell him to stay focused, and the more the weeks go by, the more fitness he gets. Game fitness is pretty fit, but the game sharpness is completely different. And sometimes with Andy, he can get a little bit, emotional. He's an emotional guy, and if things don't go his way, he can get a little bit frustrated. So I'm just trying to keep him focused, and he's got a lot to give us, a hell of a lot to give us, and he knows that. But you also got to be realistic. After such a long time, he's not going to go in there and find the winning goal with every touch. So you just got to keep calm and keep working. And the more minutes he plays, the sharper he's going to be. I even thought Benny Mazzeo after last week, he had a really difficult time in the first half last week, and that's a sign of a kid who he's got his head screwed on properly. He really had a tough time last week, but he bounced back with a pretty good performance tonight.
With Andy, obviously, you talk about what he can give you. Based on what you've seen tonight, you reckon he's getting closer to maybe being a starting option if you want to use him in that role?
Yeah, well, look, the plan was when he came back, we were slowly going to give him minutes, and hopefully last week was 45. Today was, about 20 or so. And over the next couple of weeks, he'll continue to get minutes until we think he's ready to have a start.
You touched on it a little bit earlier in terms of just how tight the positioning is up and down the ladder. How do you have to approach it? Do you have to approach it as, say, like if you're in 10th but you're only like 2 points out of the 6? Like in terms of just how difficult is it to just approach it each week, knowing that you could very easily fluctuate from 4th to 10th or 10th to...
I said that to you about those 3 games could have put us in a better position, but it's not something that we talk about as a group about the ladder. It's, 13 games in, halfway. There's still a hell of a lot of football to play. It definitely, this season is, the competition is much tighter. As I said, anyone from top to bottom can win on any given day. So you really need to turn up. So we're not interested in the ladder. We're interested in making sure that all the aspects of our game is at the level that it should be. We're not there, and we still need to get there.
I guess it's just one proper question and then the injury question. But I wanted to ask Aurelio, what was it like standing there in the dugout, looking out there, seeing Adelaide, but coaching against them?
Strange.
Given your connection, yeah, strange.
Very strange. Yeah, I know just about everyone there. So, yeah, I had a good chat with Carl. I've known Carl for such a long time, and every time I'm in Adelaide, we're always catching up for coffee and chats and all sorts of things. And he's a golf buddy of my brother Tony's as well. They play a couple of times a week. So, yeah, and as I said, I've known a lot of them. I've got fond memories. They had their 20th anniversary gala night the other night, which unfortunately I couldn't get there. That would have been also nice to be part of. So, yeah, obviously I've been there for a long time. So, yeah, it was nice. I think Michael said before, Michael Petrillo said, oh, it's like being in Adelaide tonight. So it was a bit like that.
And any fitness or injury concerns coming out of this one?
No, I'm sure because it was a tough game, I'm sure there'll be sore bodies like there is every week. I'm pleased for the guys because, you know, as difficult as it was over the last couple of weeks, and with such a short turnaround, you know, we made sure that we tried to make them as fresh as possible for this game, and they responded really well. They're probably going to hate the 8-day the 8-day turnaround now. We have that in the next couple of weeks. But for us, you know, we need to continue to work, put some more work into them. The players will probably think, no, let's play every 3 or 4 days because it suits them. But yeah, I'm pleased for the guys. They've done a fair bit of work. We still need to do a hell of a lot of work, try to get ourselves in a better position, try to get ourselves playing better football over a consistent 90 minutes. Thank you, guys.